Welcome to the Village of Buchanan, June 2nd, 2026 board meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And I'm sorry I didn't make this announcement before. In case of emergency, there's an exit here. Also, never use an elevator during an emergency. There's a staircase behind the elevator. Okay, thank you. Oh, thank you, Cindy. I was looking for this. Okay. So we have minutes to approve, April 28th workshop, May 5th board meeting, May 5th special meeting. Any questions or comments on these minutes?
No.
Okay. Can I have a motion? I'll make a motion to approve. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Oh, and I meant to mention, Will DeBias is on Zoom this evening. Comments from the floor, agenda items only. Everyone has an agenda?
Hey there, Lisa Mercora. I live at 162 First. So the reason I'm here is I saw on the agenda that we have to vote, or we have a motion about the new IMA with Croton for dog control. So I just wanted to take this opportunity to bring up the fact that, I did speak last year, it was a full year ago, about having the IMA and hopefully going with the town of Cortland instead of Croton. And the reason that I recommended that at the time is as we grow, it's important that we consider having a more experienced town of Cortland animal control officer that handles the broad range of issues that could come up with dogs and cats. Those are the domestic animals. They have an ACO that's called the animal warden. He's very highly regarded and he's doing a great job. And I just recommend that we go with that established organization instead of going to the town of Croton, which is trying something new. Last year, we went with them. They chose a shelter organization to partner with that has since been found to be having a lot of legal issues and is under probation and is probably going to close. So instead of doing that and being with them again and having to deal with the unknowns, because we don't know where they're going to next, I would just say, why don't we just go to the town of Cortland? So I was hoping to just bring that to your attention again. And just, we're growing as a village. And as we grow, we need to make sure we have these issues under control. And nobody wants to have stray animals or animal issues that aren't addressed properly. And the way to address them properly is to have an animal control officer, which, as I said, in the town of Cortland is called an animal warden. So I was hoping you guys can consider that instead of just jumping it back into the IMA with Croton. And I also wanted to know, were we able to find out for Croton, what shelter are they partnering with?
Yeah, after 20 days, I think they were looking for a shelter after. Yes.
Yes, the update from the village manager, that's still work in progress. They're still working those details out and we should know pretty soon.
Okay, so when we signed up with them the first time, they chose to go with Northwind Kennels. And as I said, Northwind Kennels had 7 cases of animal cruelty against them. They had documentation of very bad conditions at their shelter, flooding, improper conditions of all type. They had a fire. They have a pending fraud case against them. So obviously that was not the best choice. And this SPCA is an established professional organization that most of our communities that are our neighbors are using them. So there's there's really, I mean, I gave you a list the last time I spoke. It was like practically every community in Westchester in northern Westchester is using them. So to go with an unknown again, and then a whole nother year could go by. And it's our opportunity to get a good contract, be done with it, have it be professional, have it address dogs and cats, be ready for any situation that comes our way. So,
I just want to add another point. The SPCA is one of the organizations that the village is talking to as well as an option.
yeah,
So they are talking to them as well. So, but they
the
haven't.
village of Croton is talking
Yes.
to them.
Mhm, correct. So I
Okay.
haven't made a final decision yet.
Yeah, so that would be great, but the one problem is the village of Croton is one of the only communities in the surrounding area. Actually, it's one of the only communities that just handles dogs. So as you grow, you need to address the fact that cats can be dumped or left out. And if you have a cat multiplying, that can be a much bigger problem. And if you nip it in the bud and have a really professional animal control situation and have that buttoned up, you're never going to face that problem down the road. Like other communities are dealing with, whatever, communities down county especially. So we want to avoid that because we're growing. We're going to have apartment buildings. There's a lot of movement in apartment buildings. People move in, people move out. Sometimes there are animals left behind. We do have situations that have come up with cats that needed to be rescued. And so far, we've had this patchwork network of rescue groups that have been able to, keep it under control. But it's most communities and municipalities have learned that just going with the town, having the official ACO, having that official presence kind of holds it together from a top level. So
Marcus, can you tell me why we haven't, just enlighten me, because this was last year. Why are we not going with the town of Cortland?
I think the main reason was cost. The
Cost, right? So what is the cost difference?
I do not, Teresa, do you remember? Because I know they gave you some.
There were two different, there was a price for the town and then there was a price for the SPCA. Off the top of my head,
Additional costs.
Yeah.
Additional
I
cost.
want
And
to,
the
I want
town
to say it was
split-
about,
And the town would split the entire cost 50/50,
Yeah.
even though the town is 10 times bigger than the village. I think that was part of the,
I want to say $10,000, $11,000, if I remember right properly. Yeah, it was a
And the
different.
cost for Croton?
$1,200 a year. And we maybe have one or two dogs a year. That's what we're talking about. So I thought it was more, yeah.
And up until a couple years ago, there really was kind of this lapse in animal control in the village. So we proactively went out and sought other alternatives and the village of Croton, because we don't have the volume to have our own animal control
Correct.
officer. So we
Right.
have to piggyback off of another municipality.
yeah,
And after doing our diligence, and I know Stephanie had a lot of conversations with the town as well as Teresa, it was more beneficial to go with the village of Croton. And
Right.
that's where we were.
So
last year.
the town of Croton is looking to use the SPCA.
Yeah, the village of Croton is talking to the SPCA to see if they get a reasonable fee for the village. And then also we could piggyback on that agreement versus what the negotiation was with the town of Cortland.
So can we hold off on this until we get that information, or? is-
Then we have no animal control.
And I think legally we have to.
Yeah, we have to have
for
legal-
dogs
we have
that
to
And
we-
we are
yeah.
completely cut off if we don't.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So the town was expecting us to pay half their bill.
Correct.
yeah, they were.
Yeah, they were, right? I
Oh, yeah.
remember.
Oh, yeah.
Or one of
Ha-
those-
Half-
And then
Yeah.
it was a
half is
separate
MA.
agreement when you got into, so if Croton gets into an agreement with the SPCA, we're into the same agreement that we were with the SPCA that they originally talked to us about.
Correct. The problem is that we were working through the town who worked with the SPCA. Now we're working with the village, would be
Right.
with the SPCA. And the village understands what the cost was being provided to us by the town. That's why the village of Croton went on their own. And they think they can hopefully negotiate a better deal than working with the town. I hate to say that, but that's what the negotiation is going through right now.
Okay,
There's also a termination
Yes.
clause in here. So if there was ever an issue, and I think this is what we brought up last year, was if we did see that there was an issue and a need to change, we could easily make that change.
Correct.
But as of right now, it was just more fiscal responsible
Yeah.
to use the village of Croton.
it's
I
a
do-
30-day for both parties
Correct.
that they could terminate.
Correct.
It's interesting to me that the village of Croton is is able to negotiate such a, theoretically, we're hoping they will negotiate a better rate for us with the SPCA than the town of Cortland going with them. That it seems strange to me. It seems like there was some kind of a disconnect and they might not have understood our population compared to the town of Cortland's, because it doesn't make sense. Nobody would say we would split it with the town of Cortland. We're 2,000 people. The town of Cortland is 40,000 minus Croton's 8,000. So, they're hugely different than us, but
Yeah, they did
They-
understand our
they did.
population and the difference.
just
And
still denied
I
it.
think because they did a new facility and the money needed, they weren't too interested in negotiating, even though we might have one or two a year.
yeah. Okay.
Right.
So just one last thing. That is dog only.
Correct.
So at some point, can we think about joining with all the other municipalities in our area that have dog and cat coverage? And the reason that they have that is for a very practical reason. It's because you don't want to have a problem down the line. You don't want to have a stray cat. Dogs, the problem dogs present when they're stray dogs is they can run in traffic, they can bite someone, they can cause an accident. Stray cats, there's a different situation. They can multiply. And that's the problem there. So you want to really, if you have an animal control officer, that's, there's a stray cat, and the animal control officer, like for the town of Cortland, they will pick the cat up. They will bring it to the shelter organization. That's one of the services they order. They do. I found a dog running in the street. What do I do? Contact the animal warden. We work to locate the dog's owner. If we can't find their owner, we keep them safe until their owner can be located. We found a cat. What should we do? Cats that we believe may be owned will be held and attempt to find their home. If not, they will be adopted out. They brought to our partnered shelter. So it's just, instead of having the problem that just lingers because we don't have the right contact, it would be really good if we had an animal control officer that did both.
Yeah.
So can we try to aim for that in the future? Because in this last year, since we spoke last time, there have been some situations that have come up with stray cats near the industrial area, down somewhere on the other side of Albany Post Road. They were luckily handled by animal rescue people, but animal rescue people can only jump in when they have the capacity. And as a town, as a village that's growing, and every other community does this, why are we going to be the only ones with Croton that don't do this?
I think going forward too, I don't know if you have any data, Cindy or Marcus, if you have any data of in the past year, how many dogs were on the loose or how many cat issues or
Speaking to the police chief, when there's all started talking, he said maybe one or two a year. And
Okay.
most of the time they found a dog, they find the owner within a day or two. So they normally find him pretty quickly. So you're right, it's about one or two a year, maybe we have to bring the dog in. And then normally, the owners normally come out sooner or later.
Right. And then the cat situations are not reported because we don't handle it currently. But like I said, there was a few things that came up just in this last year that could have been a mess if we hadn't had some other people to basically hold the line. So anyway, that's my quest.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. You're very passionate about
You know what? I'm
the
trying
animals.
to protect our village. That's really my deal. I don't want to see our village to end up having stray cats or stray dogs or feral anything. I want it to be where we have a problem, we have an animal control officer, addresses the situation, we move on. That's what I care about.
Yeah.
So, and like I said, yeah, that's. So are we waiting to hear if they're going to choose the SPCA?
By law, we have to have some type of animal control services for dogs.
Mhm.
So I'm comfortable tonight moving forward so that we're legally complying with the law. But as Steve had said too, there's a 30-day disconnect with the agreement. So, but that's only me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how the rest of the board feels, what their thoughts are.
I agree with that. I mean, we always look at We can always look at our options in the future.
Yeah,
I mean, right now, we need to move along with this, I believe, myself, so. When something comes up better, we can always get out of this, right?
Mhm.
okay, okay.
And Lisa, keep your ears open too, because I know there's people in the community that
In the
aren't
surrounding.
as active as they used to be, but maybe there's new groups coming forward that deal with cats, and maybe there's, I don't know, some type of an agreement we can come with the cats too, other than Croton,
Yeah,
so just, you're out there with the animals, maybe you'll hear some organization.
can I just ask, like, what is, it's purely money, why we don't want to be like, have the dual services like every other community? Because like I did read the list to you, it's like Pleasantville, Mount Kisco, North Bedford, whatever. And we went on and on. I had the list of all the other communities that do this. Like, is it really, it's just cost, or it's also a combination of because we're still small and we don't feel the need yet? Is that kind of the combination?
Anybody else want
I think it's cost completely. That's the answer. I mean, it would be, we studied, we did our homework, I guess you would say, on this. Marcus looked into it. Teresa was really involved with the town on this. And I feel that the numbers worked going with Croton. Now, you did come last year and you did may bring up some valid points about the shelter that they were going to. And I thought that there was a resolution that the shelter was closed down and they weren't going there anymore to that shelter.
They had to discontinue going there because that shelter was found to be, they took a plea bargain against all these charges, and they are currently under probation. They are operating only as a kennel.
So you want the joint, like animal control with cats and dogs, and that's what Croton doesn't offer. So that's
why I would prefer that we're with Town of Cortland, have the professional staff that's already been doing this for years,
Mhm.
have dog and cat coverage so that we're set for anything that comes our way and we don't have a problem in the future.
Mhm.
Once again, dog problems typically taken care of within a week or 2 days, sometimes, a day. But cat problems, not so much. And if you have an expert in your corner, it's helpful. So yes, Town of Cortland, experience, been doing it for years. They have the animal warden that services both types of species. They're professional, and Croton, we already did go with them. We saw the choice they made. It wasn't, I mean, in retrospect, it wasn't really a great choice. It wasn't a smart choice. We knew all those problems last year, that those things were percolating, but they still chose to go with them. We don't know who they're going to go with this time.
Yeah, I listen. We have a responsibility to the taxpayer, of course, and we have to do what's best for that. And I have a cat, so I am with you on this. I don't want to see my cat. He's neutered though. He's good to go. So, but if he ever got lost or something, I would hope that somebody would pick him up and he would go to the right place to be taken care of until they found the right owner. But we have a responsibility and we have to shop this. And ultimately that's what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And if something changes in the future where Croton does take on another policy with having the two species,
Mhm.
I mean, I think we would definitely switch over to it and become part of it. I don't know much about it. I know that we're doing this because of the economics of it and our financial responsibility. So, I mean, in the future, if things change, then we'll go with the flow in that direction. I hear you. I'm good with it, but
Yeah,
I just,
because yeah.
it's hard to make a change
Mhm.
when it's it's drastic number with the amount of money.
2,000 versus 10,000.
Yeah. I mean, it's if the town would work with us, and because of our population being so much smaller than theirs and say, okay, you would pay a percentage,
Mhm.
but because of our population, comparable, then I'll absolutely go with the town. But then they want us to split the whole thing down in the middle when they have 40,000 and we have 2,000. So it doesn't really make much sense.
So last time when we talked about this, that wasn't my understanding. It was like their contract was 1,200 or I thought it was different numbers, 1,200 and ours
couldn't
was
find the
500,
number.
which is still too high and can be negotiated further. But we have like Marcus is an expert negotiator. Can he revisit that with the town of Portland?
That's the town supervisor issue. That's above my pay grade. That's all I can say.
If they would agree to it, we would do it. And that's all it comes down to. We have to take this on tonight, okay? Because we have a responsibility to do it. We need the protection, and then we can look into it. That's the best I can say.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for even considering it. And once again, as we grow, this can become more of an issue. So hopefully we can maybe keep an eye on it, especially as we grow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
Thank
And
you.
I think going forward is keep the data of when these animals are found and the resolution of it also.
Yeah, it's not something that's tracked really. It's
Yeah,
kind of
I think maybe with the police department, we need to ask them to please keep track of that, of any animals that they find. And
things like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, thanks.
thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Darlene Garrett, 159 First Street. Agenda point G. So the amendments that the company was doing the cell tower during one of the last board meetings, I think like a month ago, one of them was about, they crossed out about their insolvency. And I know, Marcus, you said that we have contingencies if that happens, which I take as using taxpayer money potentially. But
They have escrow.
they've escrowed.
Yes.
In the agreement, they'll put money aside to remove the tower if anything happens. So the money comes first before they build.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, obviously, I assume in some executive session, then the contract amended, because I know you had some, major concerns with a few points in the amendment. So just want to make sure that that was all resolved because you were quite, concerned about that. Then last point on point H, this amending for cell towers on the 40 district, I assume that's not where this current cell tower is going. Where's the 40 district that potentially?
The
amendment?
R40, it's not allowed currently. This is what this public hearing is about. So what we're doing is allowing it to go into the R40 district.
Oh, so that really hasn't even kind of,
It's where it was always supposed to go. It's just,
Mhm.
it's not allowed to go. Just amending it.
oh, okay. I felt
But
like,
it wasn't
okay,
zoned
okay,
for
like
that.
in contract, but we don't even really kind of have the amendment done yet. Okay.
Nope.
All right, makes sense. I just didn't know if we were putting up another tower after this tower.
No.
Okay.
I think one should be good for the village. I think there should probably only be one forever and ever, so.
Thank you.
All right, Darlene, thank you. Okay. All righty. So under new business, so last week, I don't know if you would like to speak and do a review of what was discussed last week with Giordano Builders and the vacant land, the village property on Albany Post Road 3222.
Sure. My name is Aaron Warner. I'm an attorney with the law firm Zarin and Steinmetz. We represent the applicant Steve Giordano Builders. Like you said, last Tuesday, we were at your board's village workshop meeting where your board gave us authorization to pursue village approvals. The memorialization of those authorizations is on the agenda for consideration tonight. Just briefly to review the proposal, this proposal is to redevelop village property located at 3222 Albany Post Road on the corner of Albany Post Road and Bleakley Avenue. And the proposal is to redevelop that property to an 11-unit townhouse development. The property is located within the village's C1, C2 overlay district, which permits multifamily apartment dwellings or townhouses by special permit from your board. The village currently owns the property, and as part of this proposal and what's before your board tonight is that the applicant is proposing to purchase the property from the village for the purpose of creating the 11-unit townhouse development. The draft commitment of sale, which is before you tonight, as well as the authorizing resolutions, would permit the project to pursue village approvals, namely two relatively minor front yard setback variances from the zoning board, and then a special use permit from your board, and then site plan and subdivision approval from the planning board. I think that's in a nutshell pretty much what we discussed. I would just add for your board that we anticipate making a special use permit application to your board in the next few weeks. And we hope and think that your board is best suited to act as lead agency for coordinated review under SECRA. Is there anything else? I think I covered.
Lead agency just for coordinated review or lead agency in general so that it eliminates the planning and zoning board? I just want to clarify that.
Well, lead agency in general, but yes.
You just said for site plan and approval with the planning board. So is for the secret process?
For the secret process, yeah.
Yeah. What did you want?
Yeah, I think the question is, are you still planning going from the planning board for site plan, or you want the village board to do the site plan review?
No, we're still planning on going before the planning
That
board
was
for
my-
site plan. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
For site plan and
Subdivision
subdivision,
review.
but
Okay.
we would like your board to serve as lead agency for
for secret.
SECRA.
Secret, yeah.
Yes.
They had that recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and so that's why they're questioning you on.
No. We're still planning on going before the planning board and the
Okay.
zoning board.
Okay. All right, so with the sale of land, the seller agrees to sell and convey to purchaser, for the part, it's 400,000. The village property would be sold for 400,000. This agreement covers the sale of land only. No improvements, structures, or construction work of any kind are included in the contemplated agreement. So you would be going in front of the planning and zoning board for site plan approval. Okay, any questions or comments from the board?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that it is clear to the public and those here in attendance that this is not an approval by this board for this development. This is simply the village owns this property, and in order for this, they're interested in purchasing the property. This village board is allowing them that opportunity, but they still have to go before the planning and zoning board and meet all the requirements of those consultants and get approval from both. So this is in no way an approval by us at this time.
Okay. All right. So I have a resolution to read. This is a resolution adopted by the Village Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan at its regular meeting held on June 2nd, 2026. We resolved that the Village Board of Trustees authorizes the mayor to sign a commitment of sale with Steve Giordano Builders, INC, regarding vacant land located at 3,222 Albany Post Road. And can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
very much.
All right, the next is an authorization from the village board. This is authorization from the Village Board of Trustees, Village of Buchanan, to Steve Giordano Builders. The buyer, as contract vendee, is authorized to work with the Buchanan Village Board of Trustees to submit applications to the Village of Buchanan Zoning Board of Appeals, Village of Buchanan Planning Board, and any of the village consultants. Going to, I believe right now, the zoning, their variances in front of the zoning board are for two of the units. There's 11 units altogether. For two of those units, for a variance, front yard variance, I believe. Yeah, front yard variance. Okay. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Okay.
I want to thank the board for considering this application. Really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Okay, I'm going to make a motion to open the public hearing regarding the extended public participation plan. So our engineer, George Palmer, is with us this evening, And George, I know you've commented on this a few times. If you could just give a review for the public of what this is about.
Sure. Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees. This is part of an NY 2A DEC permit application. It's a requirement by the DEC. We did this in July of last year. The DEC came back. They wanted us to add a section to our PPP, which is the existing burden report, which we talked about at the workshop last month. And Dave Smith, the planner, worked on that section of the report. It's Appendix E of the PPP. We did, after the workshop meeting, submit this to the DEC. It requires their approval. Once it's approved by them, we set this up to have two public hearings. So you'll notice that there's today, and there's also July 7th was the other date where this is available for the public comment. So right now, we're waiting to hear back from the DEC to make sure everything that we need is in there. And we gave Marcus a draft. He'll put it on the website. And that's it for now. We're going to circulate it to all the people as a draft, to all the people listed in the document, which was, I guess, on the last page of the document, which is in there. We'll list right before, Appendix A. So it's going to go to Town of Cortland, Peekskill, Croton, State Assembly, Westchester County, and there's probably about 20 other entities. So Marcus and I talked today. I think we added the clerks to make sure we're following all the right procedures, because the
Exactly.
Town of Cortland is very particular about
Yes.
Yeah.
sending it to the
We'll make
clerk
sure it
or
goes to
sending
the
it
proper
entity,
department.
yeah, department.
Yes.
So
And just for point of clarification, Mayor and Board, I know we brought it at the last meeting. This has to do with increase the capacity from
Correct.
500 to 750, because for the general public information. So that way we know what you're talking about. There's been an application to increase the capacity from 500 gallons per day, 500,000 gallons per day to 750,000 gallons per day. There's the process to get that process approved. And then after that, then George can finish the scope of work to actually then move to the next step, which is to upgrade our sewer treatment plant. So this is step one.
correct. Well, actually, it's the last step.
Well, then, when the big work, then real work starts.
Then the real work starts. Yeah, correct.
So
I'm
it's a
sorry,
public- yeah.
did I open the public
No,
hearing properly? Okay.
No.
Thank you, George, for the review. I'd like to make a motion to open the public hearing regarding the extended participation plan. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So, any questions from the board? Any comments? Okay. The audience, George, you did a good review. Any comments or questions from the audience? Okay, it's pretty straightforward. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to close the public. Oh, no,
no.
no. Yeah, I
Continue.
see it. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the public hearing until July 7th.
Correct.
Okay,
Second.
thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Okay, George, we're not done with you yet. Discussion on regarding update on the pavilion.
So as mentioned in the workshop meeting, we were in the last two workshop meetings, the last couple meetings. We've been talking about this a while. We went through two engineers. First engineer reviewed it. Second engineer did a peer review. We have a third engineer who's worked extensively with these types of structures. We reached out to a number of PhDs who are qualified. They have credentials that show they're qualified to analyze the structure. But in our findings, in talking to the most recent engineer, they're out in Wisconsin. They've worked for one of the largest pre-engineered companies that make this structure. They want travel expense. So we gave them all, step back, we gave them all the information from the first two engineers, all the analysis, all the calculations. Our hopes was that they would take this information, say, okay, I see what everyone's done. Here's our solution. That was the direction. That was the hope. That was the direction we want to go. But the engineers, like the first one, like the second one, they want to put eyes on the structure. They want to look at it. They test it. They want to measure it themselves. They want to do all this stuff. So they're out in Wisconsin. They wanted a $10,000 travel expense, then $20,000 to do the same thing that the first two did. And then maybe in the third bullet, third phase would be to maybe come up with a solution. So all that cost and kind of the uncertainty at the end of this wasn't very comforting. So what we did was we went back to Chris Shaver from CT Mal, said, Chris, this is where we're at. We've reached out to these people. What can you do to put us one step closer to a solution? So he said, well, I can analyze it on the computer, tell you what he didn't analyze the wind loads. He didn't analyze the correct steel. So he's going to want to look at that more closely and see how we can, what size beams we should need and how we can take a step towards designing or reinforcing what we have. And I actually spoke to another engineer today, fourth engineer, who said, yeah, he's done this before. And he's said it just requires reinforcing in certain locations. And he's done it in the past. So if Chris comes to some kind of conclusion, I have another person to go to try to get to solutions. So we know what the problem is. We need solutions. Add steel here, add something there, and make it code compliant. So that's where we're at. So CTML gave us a proposal, $2,500 to take this step to see on the computer, on the desktop, what we need to do to get this code compliant.
All right. And
So this guy, Chris, was this the guy that we talked to on the phone?
No, that was
That was the second.
that was the second guy.
Okay, good. Because he was an idiot. Okay.
He-
And I'm going to tell you straight up. I mean, you heard him talk on the phone, and he came here and came vocal in a public meeting with stuff that should not have been said. Okay, because it was just his opinion.
Yeah, he gave us the 20-mile-an-hour opinion.
Which
and-
was,
and
it came
caused
from no
confusion.
no data to back it up.
Correct.
It was just said out loud, and that's put us in this position.
It did.
Okay, yes, we need to fix the pavilion, but we need an engineer that can fix it, give us a solution, not somebody who's just going to look at a computer and say, oh, I don't think you should be under 20-mile-an-hour winds. Well, give me the data that tells you that.
Yeah, he did. He put us in a position where it created more explaining and more issues than solving. So
And have we spoken to the contractor that did previous steel work on the pavilion just 3-4 years ago?
so the contractor that did it, I mean, all his work, he doesn't have an issue with, and we've looked at it, and none of the structural engineers commented on any of the work that was done. So it was all
Mhm.
fine. So
But I would imagine he must have an engineer on staff.
the person who did
Yeah.
the repairs,
Mhm.
no, those repairs were more,
it was lower.
yeah, it was lower.
base.
It was, so
There was
these
thing-
issues are up.
There was nothing up.
No, well, there was purlins. So we have the structural frame
Mhm.
and we have the purlins. The purlins are what the roof sits on.
Mhm.
So he replaced a couple of purlins.
Mm.
He tied a couple of purlins together, sistered a few of them. But that's different from the steel structure itself. That's what,
So he didn't
Does-
touch any of the structure.
no, he didn't, just at the bottom, some rust he cleaned up and he.
Gotcha.
he
So
repaired.
none of these guys have an actual design engineer where they actually design something. Because, Westchester County, you go down to George's Island, they have the pavilions down there.
Yep.
Right? And they're all same kind of steel structure. Do we have any connections with anybody from the county that is with engineering that would, it's more of like a spot repair, like you're going to fishbone or fish plate the webs in the steel beam. They give it support in different areas. So you need somebody with a design, an engineer that can design this so we can get moving on a solution. Not give us all this bullshit, excuse me, all this data that makes no sense to us.
Yeah, that's the nature. Unfortunately, that's the nature of structural engineering. They analyze, and
But we've done that already.
we've done that. That was the whole point of, this is the third time someone's going to say, analyze it, and maybe I can do something for you. So I wasn't getting that comfortable feeling that we're coming to a solution.
Right.
So that's why I went back to Chris and said,
Yeah.
I want to get
Good.
to fixing the problem instead of, we analyzed it. We know what the problem
And
is.
you did put that in your memo. You were
I did.
comfortable with continuing to analyze, but you want to move forward with the fix.
And that was the change order we saw.
So that's the $2,500. So
Okay.
And that's-
Well, I have a question. George, I read the memo and I'm listening to what you're saying. Work with me a little bit and help me out. I want to know, what is Chris going to do that is different than what's been done to help us resolve this issue, or at least get closer to it?
So he is going, so right now, well, first, he had the 36 KSI steel and he put the 50 KSI steel into his, he didn't put that into his model originally. So he had the wrong steel to begin with. He made an assumption. He made a very conservative assumption. So now he's going to put the right strength steel in there. He's going to put the thickness that the beam needs to be. So let's say it's a 1/4 inch beam. Let's say it needs to be a 1/2 inch. So now if we know that it's a 1/2 inch, then we know it's a 1/4. You got to add a 1/2 inch. So it makes it very simple. So then, and where to add that 1/2 inch of steel? You add it to the top flange or the bottom flange. So that is the direction Steve is going.
But this is all going to be
I'm sorry,
computerized. Chris,
I'm
right.
sorry.
It's okay. I know it's very confusing. This is why I'm trying to straighten it out in my head. So this is something Chris is going to do digitally. He's going to do this on the computer, correct?
Correct. And the computer is, it looks at everything according to the latest code. So it'll look according to the latest building code, and he'll put the correct roof load on there, which is the 45 pounds per square foot snow load. He'll put the right wind load, which he didn't do the first time. So that's what he's doing different. He's doing the wind load, he's doing the correct snow load, and he's going to give us the correct size beams, what they should be. And then we're going to figure out how much steel we got to add to the structure and where. That's the other key. So when we figure out where it needs to be added, that's what we need to do. So.
All right. And this, in my opinion, is going to take some time, correct?
Yeah. I don't see on here the timing of this, but this is 2,500. This is not going to take that long. I mean, this should only take, I would say, a week or two. I mean,
For his analysis, and
Yeah.
then whatever has to get done,
Right.
that's the
that
next.
comes after. That
So
would
he'll,
be the-
so at the next workshop meeting, the goal is to have him do his analysis at the next workshop meeting, have him talk at the workshop and determine his findings. I ran my analysis. I used the steel that's actually out there. This is what the size that it needs to be. This is what you need to add to it. And here's where you need to add it.
All right. And you gave me the timing. I wanted to know when we would know, and you just told me at the next workshop.
Next workshop, yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And the cost on that is $2,500?
Correct.
All right. So I'm gonna skip. There's a Q
Yeah.
at the end. I'd like to, so I'd like to make a motion authorizing the mayor to sign the change order regarding the structural evaluation of the pavilion for $2,500. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. All right, George, we're still not done with you. If you could talk about, I know we've discussed this before, but for the public, the bid for the roadway improvement project for this year.
Sure. On May 22nd, we received 4 bids from 4 contractors. The lowest bid, the work involved 4th Street, Westchester Avenue between 1st and 4th Street, and 4th between Westchester and Tate, and some curbing throughout the village. ELQ was the lowest responsive bidder, $358,946.25. We've worked with them in the past. We have no issues with their bid as it was submitted, and we provided a recommendation to the village.
Okay.
So,
And ELQ Industries, the total bid was $358,946. So you could see the range. Pat Paving, 404,375. Intercounty Paving, 485,250. And Montezano Brothers was 500,000. So the lowest bidder was ELQ. So I'd like to make a motion to award the bid for the roadway improvement project for 2026 to ELQ Industries with a bid of $358,946.25 to be exact. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Teresa, if I may. before
Yes,
the next
sure.
One, since it's all about paving, I was going to pass this along. There was an issue at the last meeting about Third and Tate Avenue about Con Edison. That's been repaired today, so that's.
I thought I saw things down there today. Perfect.
Yeah, so after the meeting, we got on the
Okay.
phone with Con Edison, myself, George, and Randy, and they took care of it, so it's done now.
Good. All right,
I'll let you
good.
know.
That's
Thank you.
good news. Great. Thank you. All right, and that's all that needed to be done.
Yep.
All right, George, let's talk about sludge removal. It's an exciting topic.
So back in 2024, the village put out bid specifications for sludge removal. They received a bid from Cook, Fred A. Cook Inc., and they submitted a bid of 119,000. We extended that for a year because there's a clause in the contract to extend it if mutually agreed to by the village and the contractor. Last year, we thought it was in the best interest of the village to do that since they were significantly lower than everyone else. And this year, that has expired. It expires in June. So we're going to put out the work to bid, the sludge removal. We do it every other year now.
Yeah.
So.
All right, any questions? Anybody on the board? This is something we do every year, every couple of years. We have to get rid of the sludge.
Yep.
Okay, so I'd like to make a motion authorizing the engineer to prepare specifications and to advertise for bids for sludge removal. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
So,
Um,
if I don't mind.
sure.
Send an email to the board. I know it's last minute. Since we're talking authorized going out to bid, the roof at the sewer treatment plant, we're waiting for the asbestos abatement report that came in, and it did come in, there's asbestos. So I would like to move this process forward to avoid any violation with the DEC. So I would like the board to consider, adding that to the agenda and authorizing George to go out to bid for the asbestos abatement and replacing the roof at the wastewater treatment plant main building. Correct, George?
Yeah, that's it. That's exactly,
That roof
Yeah,
has not
that's
been touched
been-
in over 30 years, I think.
Easily.
More. Right.
And then I think it was.
Asbestos in it, and it was longer than that.
Replacement. And then, yeah, and we've had a few leaks over there
Yes.
in the process, so it's something that has to be done.
The good thing is the ceiling underneath is not, so it's just the roof on top.
Oh, okay.
That was,
Roof too.
it's a flat roof, yeah.
It's just in the non-friable, right?
Yes.
It's time. Okay. So, while George is still here, I'd like to make a motion, authorizing the engineer to go out to bid for, asbestos abatement and replacement of the roof at the main roof at the sewer treatment plant. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. George, do you have anything else for us? It was a lot, but thank
It
you.
was- It
Yeah.
was a lot, yeah. No, I think the only thing that we've been working on is the two developments that are in town that I know AMS, we did some work with them to close them out and close their issues out. And we're working with Village Square to keep their
Yeah.
project moving along. There's one's just starting and the other one's pretty close to ending, so.
So where is the Village Square? They're doing their,
Carbone is.
the Carbone,
the-
project. They're
Doing their sewer lines now, so
Oh, okay.
they're all their structures, they're doing some site work. They got their pond all set up, their stormwater set up.
And they haven't done any of their foundations yet. They're still doing
They're-
site work.
they're
Just site work.
Yeah, the foundations will be coming soon.
Okay.
so-
Yeah, because people are asking, so that's why,
And
while you're here.
So the infrastructure will go in first and then the buildings will go up, similar to AMS. So,
Okay.
but that's where we're at there.
Thanks for the update.
You're welcome.
All right, George, have a good night.
You too. Thank you.
We'll see you tomorrow,
See you tomorrow. Tomorrow,
So the town.
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Be there or be square. The next is, there's an amended cell tower lease. Does anybody have any questions on that? Board members? Marcus, would you like to do a review?
Just to provide the public and the board with the update, a lease has been signed before for this tower. The amendment it has to do with a couple months ago, maybe 2 months ago, 3 months. In order to have Verizon sign up, the developer agreed to reduce the lease payments by $400 for Verizon, but the developer will make up the difference plus interest on top of that, so to make the village whole. So the amendment is just showing how much Verizon is paying and what the developer is paying to the village. So the village will be made whole. So that's the amended lease we're talking about. Nothing else except for the numbers of the monthly payments that are coming in.
And do you have
Yeah, the
that
amounts?
off the
Yeah.
top of your head? Yes, please.
Yeah, so for example, the original base rent for the first month for the first year is $2,750. The amended will be $2,350, so a discount of $400. But then the developer would be paying us with interest $401.67. So we're actually going to get $1.67 more than the $400, and that'll be made continue on until they get another carrier, and then when the other carrier comes on, it'll make up the difference, and then the payments will actually start coming up even higher, and it'll be made whole at that point. There'll be no discount after that.
There you go.
Good. Moving forward with the cell tower. Okay, I'd like to make a motion authorizing the mayor to sign the amended cell tower lease. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next is, okay. It's going to be a resolution declaring lead agency and to adjourn the public hearing till July 7th on the proposed zoning text amendments to repeal certain regulations from Article 13. It's Roman numerals. It's been a few years, okay? So this is also over the cell tower. It will be continued July 7th. There's some what we're doing is to allow communication towers on village-owned land in the R40 district. Where this is being placed is the end of First Street, which is really a dirt road behind the baseball field, very close to the Con Edison property behind the highway department. That seemed to be the best place to put that. And that happens to be an R40 district, so we have to change the zoning on that. So, okay, let me read. Any comments or questions from the board?
No.
Okay. So let me read the resolution.
Yep. That's what I was going to ask you to do.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Section 1, Section 21110, Schedule of Use Regulations, Attachment 1 shall be amended to read as follows. District R40, Column 2, entitled Uses Permitted by Right, shall be amended to add letter D to read as follows. Cellular towers on land owned by the Village of Buchanan. Section 2, so that means it's only the village property that this can go on. And as we said before, there's not going to be any need for any other cell towers in the village. Section 2, this local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of the State of New York. Section 3, this local law shall take effect immediately upon filing with the Secretary of State of New York. So for both Section and Section 2 and 3.
And so the public hearing will be scheduled for July 7th.
Right, we're going to
Thank
keep
you.
that going
Yep.
for July 7th. Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. The next is, we've been discussing this for a while. This is the Knox Box Rapid Key Access Program. This evening, we have the Buchanan Engine Chief here. Is there anything, Bob, that you would like to say about the Knox Box program? Okay. Okay. Any questions from the board on this?
Know much about it, right?
Yeah, we discussed this.
Yeah,
for
we've
several
discussed
months.
this a few times. Yes.
They didn't
Okay.
bring it back.
So I'm going to make a motion to open the public hearing regarding the Knox Box Rapid Key Access Program. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so So this is, and like I said, we've discussed it, but for people who haven't been, I'll get you up to speed. This is for the following buildings located within the service boundaries of the Buchanan Engine Company. So what it's to do is it's a box that would go on commercial buildings. The keys would be very specifically labeled. So if there's a fire, the fire department can get to that box, get into the building, get into an apartment, get into something, an access area of the building without breaking down doors and breaking windows and, so this would be for any new commercial construction, any new commercial mixed-use buildings. This will not be for family residences. Any new multifamily residential structures consisting of 3 or more dwelling units that have restricted access through locked doors at the request of the building department or fire chief based on a particularized need to access a building for safety purposes. Upon application for a building permit to modify or an application for a change of use to an existing commercial building greater than 3 stories, the AHJ may require a Knox box. When access to or within a particular commercial building or structure or to a particular area within a commercial building or structure is restricted because of secured openings or where immediate access is deemed necessary by the village building inspector or fire chief for life-saving or firefighting purposes, the village building inspector and or fire chief is authorized to require a knock box to be installed on such premises at a location approved by the fire chief. The cost of purchasing and installing, along with any other costs associated with implementation will be borne by the property owner. And once again, label keys to locked access points of ingress and egress. So it's, the board has talked about this. We also spoke to Kieran Outhouse, who suggested doing this. And I have a building that doesn't fit this requirement, but I think it's a good thing. So I am going to spend the money to do this, but I think it's well worth it. And anyone else can always contact the Buchanan Engine, any questions they might have.
It does, although it doesn't state with the single-family homes, it does allow the residents, if they are interested in participating, they can, and it could be beneficial for those, especially the elderly that live alone. Their family may feel comfortable with having the box on the building, so the fire department does not have to break in.
Or snowbirds.
Or
So
snowbirds.
people who, go to Florida or wherever, Arizona for several months, this way the fire department would have access to be able to get in quickly. You don't want them taking down your doors, that could be, or windows, that could be quite expensive. So, but they're going to get in one way or the other. So I might as well make it easy for them to get in there. Any questions or comments from the board or anyone in the audience?
Well, I don't have any questions, but maybe I'd ask the chief to come up and just explain how it works in the firehouse's end as far as security
sure.
for homes and how to protect, if you protect that also.
Sure. Bob Outhouse, Buchanan Engine Company Fire Chief. In speaking on the program, it's something that's been out there for the last 45 years. We looked at this program back in the 90s. It was very, very expensive to the commercial owners, and there wasn't that many people interested. The program has proved itself time and time again. The cost is well worth the benefit. We've had over the past few years, commercial property owners come to the firehouse and say, hey, do you have Knox? We don't. With the AMS building coming in, Sylvan Woods, they're the first ones to get it. They're putting it in. So for everyone that doesn't know how it works, it's pretty sophisticated. There are 2 lock boxes that will be on each fire truck with a master key. There'll be a keypad on there. Each active firefighter will have its own PIN code. If we need to get in, that PIN code is relayed to us. We punch in our personal code. We open the box, we get the master key out, we open up the box and get your keys out. Then we go in. When that truck returns, it automatically sends the download of what person opened that box at what time at that address. So it's really fail safe. We are, currently working on all that sophisticated digital work to get that done. I do think it's time. Again, village residents, I see it all the time on dispatches outside of the village. Knox box code come in. That's just residents to get into houses, whether it's a welfare check or it's, they're not home. So again, we've been all in favor of it. Kieran, being my assistant chief, did a great job after I detailed him to take care of that. And I think it's a great thing.
Right.
So again, if there's any questions about it, again, it's a solid system. It's been in place for 40 years. A lot of places use it, and all the school district buildings are getting it. Now we'll have Buchanan EV on well as well.
Good. Good program. Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. Any comments or questions from the floor? Okay. So I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing regarding the Knox Box Rapid Key Access Program. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm going to read a resolution. Whereas a resolution was duly adopted by the Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan for a public hearing to be held by the Village Board at the Municipal Building, 236 Tate Avenue, Buchanan, to hear all interested parties on a proposed local law amending Chapter 67 entitled Building Construction to the Code of the Village of Buchanan. Whereas notice of said public hearing was duly advertised in the official local newspaper, and whereas a public hearing was duly held at a regularly scheduled meeting of the Village Board on June 2nd, 2022 at 7 p.m. at the Municipal Building, 236 Tate Avenue, Buchanan, New York, and all parties in attendance were permitted an opportunity to speak on behalf of or in opposition to said proposed local law or any part thereof. And whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan, after due deliberation, finds it in the best interest of the Village of Buchanan to adopt said local law. Now be therefore resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Buchanan hereby adopts said local law number 3, 2026, amending Chapter 67, Article 2 of the Code of the Village of Buchanan, a copy of which is attached hereto and made part of this resolution. And be it further resolved that the village clerk be and hereby is directed to enter said local law in the minutes of this meeting and the local law book of the Village of Buchanan, and to give due notice of the adoption of said local law to the Secretary of State of New York. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So the next is we're going to have a discussion regarding the lowering the speed limit on Westchester Avenue between 1st and 4th Street during camp hours. I know, Bob, you had mentioned this. It came up, there was a discussion, and the police chief was involved, gave his comments. And Bob, if you want to.
I didn't really bring this up to make it a big issue. I just brought it up. I heard from a few people that they were concerned about that, seeing that where the 50-mile-an-hour speed limit is for the school, it's only another couple hundred feet right in front of the camp where the campers do use the water slides and stuff like that. So I just brought it up as a discussion for the board to maybe consider maybe doing something if they felt that it was necessary to do. I did speak with the chief myself, and I told him, as I told everyone else here, it has nothing to do with speed. It just has to do with the potential of a kid running out in front of a car. That's all it really is. So if it became a big speed issue, I didn't really mean it to be that. I just thought that maybe it was something to discuss, whether we can do something temporarily. I don't really know. And that's the only reason I really brought it up. So if the board wants to continue talking about it, that's fine. If not, I understand that. So that's the only reason it was really brought up.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately we couldn't, the chief had said something that in a school zone, you can go down to 15 miles per hour, but within the playground area there, we couldn't do it, but perhaps we could do, some signage or something.
When they do it in front of the schools, you can only go so many feet from the school.
That's
right.
That's under the law.
So I understand all that, but like I said, it wasn't meant to be a big issue. It was just meant to have a conversation, see if people thought maybe it would be a good idea to do or not.
Right.
I mean, could you put up slow children playing signs that are not
Well, can we
mandated
put
by
our
the state?
flashing speed signs up there for the summer?
Hmm?
The flashing speed
can
sign
move,
that's been in
yeah.
front of Lakers house for 6 months. We can put that over there. Is it still there?
No.
I think it just I think it just put up
Yeah.
by the pavilion now.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
To record what was going on there because speed's never been it seems like it's a problem in that road. But many years ago, they put it right in Tate Avenue, or excuse me, Westchester Avenue to record for months. And they take in all this data to see how fast the cars are going. And it was a very small amount of cars that were going over 35 miles an hour.
Yeah.
So that's what those signs do also. They give you good data on that, so.
You know,
That's-
I
that
think
maybe
we,
just be something to put some, I agree with you, maybe just at least put something in front of them and say, hey,
Yeah, I mean, just set this, just so it's just
Okay.
a warning, slow down.
there's temporary signs that we put up there, maybe something camp, I don't know, some type of a sign letting people know that there's children in the area playing.
I think
Yeah.
we can do something with that sign, 'cause when people see those signs, they do
Yeah,
pay
Slow down.
attention to what's going on around them too.
they take
They're
notes.
looking for police first.
And Marcus,
Torn up for.
how many of those, I know we had gotten them from Entergy. How many of those speed detection signs do we have? I know one got ripped off a pole.
Two.
Two now? Okay, yeah, one got ripped off a pole. Could we, we'll have a discussion on it, but could we look into possibly getting a couple more of those? Because somebody had told me on Lindsay Avenue, I guess a truck came by one day and just ripped it right off the pole, and there it was on the ground all over the place. So let's see what they cost and,
Whatever you
but to
got.
have one or two, like just one on Westchester when, people are, and then it collects the data. So if we have to, talk about something else with the speeding and it
Yeah,
lets
no
the
problem.
police know.
It works very well for what they're needed.
Yeah,
They really do give you a
Yeah.
lot of information.
Yep, no problem.
okay, that'd be great. Good, perfect. Okay, so we had quite a lengthy discussion about dog control. Thank you, Lisa. And this is an intermunicipal agreement with the Village of Croton. Oops, okay. So just a little review. As necessary, the Village of Croton hereby agrees to provide dog control. Such services shall include being on call for stray dogs in the Village of Buchanan and transporting any stray dogs to the village's animal shelter, the Croton's Animal Shelter. Requests for such services during normal business hours, 7 to 3:30. You'd have to contact the village itself. And after that, there's a special phone number, Department of Public Works, that people could call. Regular business hours shall be made by contacting the Village of Croton-on-Hudson Police Department. The Village of Buchanan shall pay to the Village of Croton an annual contract fee of $1,200 for these services. Payment is due within 30 days of the date of this agreement. The Village of Buchanan shall pay to the Village of Croton-on-Hudson a one-time fee of $100 towards the construction of a dog holding cage to be located in the Department of Public Works garage. The Village of Croton shall bill the Village of Buchanan for any veterinary services and shelter charges incurred related to dogs collected in the Village of Buchanan. The Village of Croton shall further bill the Village of Buchanan for any overtime incurred by the dog control officer related to the services. So if he gets called out on Christmas Day, we expect to pay overtime on that. The term of the agreement shall be for a period of 3 years. The village shall begin discussing the renewal of this agreement 90 days before. Then it gets into indemnification. It gets into the insurance that's required by the Village of Croton. And, the commercial liability and all the other coverage that's needed. So any questions or comments from the board on this? No?
No.
Okay. Any comments from the public? No? All right. So I make a motion authorizing the mayor to sign the IMA intermunicipal agreement with the Village of Croton regarding a dog control officer. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next is, we have 3 items that we have considered as surplus. So I'd like to make a motion to accept the following bids for the sale of surplus materials from Auctions International, a 2011 Chevy 3500 HD dump for 3,100, 2017 Ford Explorer for 1,100, and a Fisher Minute Mount plow for $290. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The next is authorizing employment of recreational personnel for the camp. So I'd like to make a motion, the director, $5,250 per season, assistant director, $4,800 per season, nurse, $27 an hour, nurse substitute, $25 an hour, laborer, $18 an hour, art specialist, $16.80 an hour, sports specialist, $16.50 an hour, senior counselors, $15 to $15.75 an hour, junior counselors, $10 to $13.25 an hour, junior CIT, counselor in training, $4.50 an hour. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. The next is employment of recreational personnel for the pool. So I'd like to make a motion authorizing the employment of the director at $25 an hour, WSI, water safety instructor, and we got some more. Lifeguard, vary with experience, so anywhere from $15 to $17.50 an hour. The head guard would be making $1 more per hour when working as head guard. So can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. The next is the board has decided to look to go after a grant for the playground behind the highway department. This is called the New York State Plays Grant, and we'll be making an application for this. So yeah, the playground, what did you say? It does have a few more years, but it's showing its age and some wear and tear. So the board has decided to look into purchasing a new one. And I know there's been a resident who I think we have to keep in mind has mentioned about the direct sunlight there. So I know some of the playgrounds, if we get this grant, do have like these little umbrellas that you can put on top, or or planting of a tree or something to help with that.
And that's a good point. What I'll do is probably at the next workshop, we're looking at companies, just same thing with the pool. You can pick and choose what you want. So I can provide the board with some brochures, pick and decide what you want to do, and then we can incorporate that into the grant.
Okay. So I think when I looked, it's about 100,000 just for the playground equipment, something similar to what we already have. But then that was like over a year ago, so I'm sure that price is.
We're looking at close to $300,000.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. So hopefully we get this grant.
Yes. And I'll give you the, Randy picked and choose some steps just
Oh,
to get
good.
an idea, and I'll get you that information. It includes the shade to put over some of the playground equipment, and also some possibilities, some adult exercise equipment, so that when you watch the kids, you can do elliptical or bicycle as you're watching your kids at the same time.
That would be great. All right. Well, let's see where we go with this. But you don't know unless you try. Whereas the New York Plans, New York Places for Learning, Activity, and Youth Socialization Grant Program, overseen by the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation, and jointly administered by the Dormitory Authority of the State of New York, which provides funding assistance for the design, construction, and renovation of public playgrounds across New York State. And whereas the Village of Buchanan seeks to apply for New York Plays funding to support the installation of a new playground within the Village Park on Westchester Avenue. Whereas the New York Plays grant program requires a local match equal to 20% of the total eligible project. So on 300,000, that would 20, 40, 60,000 for us. Whereas the village board recognized the benefit of the New York Plays Estate Initiative and the importance for safe, accessible, and modern recreational facilities for residents, is dedicated to supporting this project. Whereas the Village of Buchanan commits to fund a minimum, the required 20% local match portion of the project from its general fund reserves, subject to applicable budgetary and financial management requirements. Now therefore be resolved that the Village Board of Trustees, of the Village of Buchanan hereby authorizes and directs the submission of New York Plays grant application for the development of a new playground in the Village Park. And be it further resolved that the Village of Buchanan hereby commits to providing the required local match in an amount equal to or greater than 20% of the total project cost, if awarded grant funding. And be it further resolved that such local match shall be funded through the village's general fund reserves, subject to appropriation in accordance with applicable laws and financial policies. And be it further resolved that the mayor as the village official and/or village administrator are authorized to execute all necessary documents and to take all actions necessary to carry out the intent of this resolution and to administer the grant if awarded. Can I have a second
Second.
on a question?
No, I just want to make sure everybody's aware that we're applying for this grant. We have not been awarded this grant. This is only part of the process. If we are awarded the grant, we will match the 20% that is required. So that's all.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Teresa,
Yes, ma'am.
if you go back to H,
Oh,
you know, you read it, but you didn't take a vote from your board.
Oh,
You-
I'm
you
sorry.
didn't do it all in favor, that's all. So we just need everybody to.
Thank you for,
To adjourn? Or adjourn, and to call, yeah.
Yeah.
We adjourn the public hearing.
Right, that's exactly it.
do with that. Holy Christmas.
You read it, you just need it on. you know,
Okay,
on-
so you just want me to, a
Motion.
motion to accept? Okay, a second? And then all in favor?
Yeah.
Okay, can I have a second
Second.
on H? There we go.
There you go.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I didn't finish, I didn't wrap it up.
Right, but now
thought
you
we
did,
did
thank
that.
you.
Now it's all wrapped up in a
Yeah, it's
neat
wrapped
little
up.
bow.
We didn't do
Okay,
that?
good.
I
Perfect.
thought we did it.
No.
Okay, so
All right.
we already did Q. We took care of that. Okay. So next, information from officers and departments, justice reports for March 2026. Let's see. Okay, I have for March 2026, $3,743. April 2026, I have 3,028. These are the fees that are collected from the court. Police report?
Yep, for the month of April, there were 172 total calls. 23 of those were calls for service and 27 of those were property checks.
And highway report?
Highway report,
What? You want to do it? Go ahead.
you got it.
I mean, it's just garbage. We talk about it. Total sanitation collected was 135 tons. I did speak to Tony and Randy, and they really did a wonderful job at the pool house.
You gotta see it.
Yeah,
It's amazing.
our guys are really good. The guys we have now working are doing a great job, and they're taking on every project, and it's really it's going really well. So I would like to thank them personally. Keep up the good work.
And they've been out doing, flushing the hydrants, I've seen the last couple of days. Okay, wastewater treatment plant, treated wastewater, 12,784,000 gallons, sludge removal, 9,106,000. We did have a, April 20th, all pump stations cleaned. We did have an inspection and it was satisfactory. Building department?
They have 16 building permits that have been issued and reviewed. They have 23 inspections that are required for newly issued permits. And he's issued 10 certificates of occupancies. And the AMS project is going along as per schedule.
Buchanan engine for April 2026. There was one automatic alarm detector, 2 mutual aid, 1 brush open burn, and there was one motor vehicle accident, total of 5 alarms. The engine company handed out 15 CO smoke detectors to village residents. And, Chief, I am going to ask you to come up to talk about the utility 12 update. Please.
We are in our final stage of Utility 12. It's back home. It's in service right now. The final thing has to be done is the lettering. I was hoping to be done by June 1st, but to schedule it with the gentleman in Peekskill that's doing it, we're now at probably the mid-mark of June. There's just some small tidying up to do, and the truck will be refurbished. All lights have been replaced. Compressors replaced, and I'm waiting on a bid on the old compressor. So hopefully we'll gain some money back on a resale of that. Yeah, we're good to go there.
Great.
That's good news.
I should have a final figure, and you can probably look at it as well, but I will give a figure to the board on what was spent total as that project went through 3 phases.
Great.
Any other questions about it?
No.
Glad we were able to do that.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks, Bob.
Thanks, Chief.
Chief.
Okay, so prosecutors report? Any? Nothing. Okay. Attorney report.
We're busy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
You're up to date on all the public hearings that are being scheduled, the changes to our text amendments, the wireless facility, the commitment to sell vacant land. So I think that's all that I have at the moment. Okay, well, I'll have a matter for executive session. Thank you.
Oh, you do? Okay, because I was going to ask
Sorry,
if there's
yeah.
any executive session discussions. Okay. All right. Now give me a second here. Okay. Let's see. So I just want to get clarification from the board. We discussed the beautification committee planting by the police department. Is that a go for them, or has the board decided differently? There will be no plaque or anything put there. We did have,
Expense.
oh, they pay for it themselves.
Pay for it?
Yeah, they pay for it themselves.
Even if we had to pay for it, I think it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
to
It's just, what happened, all the planting died there, and it looks terrible. They might be interested, but I'll either have them come or I'll come back to the board. They might be interested in putting a little bench there too. But that's why they do these fundraisers, so that they can do these things.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Memorial Day, I was at the Town of Cortland ceremony on Friday. It was a very nice ceremony. The speaker was a local resident, Joe Soretto. It was a good speech he gave. And then also on Memorial Day in Verplank in the morning. Verplank it's a tri-village Memorial Day ceremony, and Verplank was the host this year. So I was at that, and also Judge Dan O'Neill was there. That reminds me. And I missed the Montrose Bazaar. It's the first time in the parade. I got to the bazaar, but it's the first time in 20 years I've missed the parades, unfortunately. As a reminder, again, June 18th here at 6 p.m., the Decommissioning Oversight Board meeting. We are hosting it on June 18th. And understanding one of the conversations that is going to be brought up is about data centers, because there's been talk about a company looking into putting a data center where the training building was in Unit 3. So before we have that conversation, or that conversation comes up, I'd like to know what the board's thoughts are about data centers. There's been a lot of information coming out about it. I know the state is trying to do a moratorium, not a 3-year moratorium, but a 1-year moratorium on data centers. So I'm not sure what
Yeah.
I have my own opinions,
Yeah.
but I
Well,
want to.
But I want to say, if the board wants to consider, that's the thought, what other communities are doing in other communities. If you consider that as part of the rezoning, besides a pilot arrangement,
Right.
also they have to provide their own electricity.
Yeah.
So locally, you can make a pilot arrangement and also have them, generate their own electricity, whatever way that is, if the board wants to consider it. But again, the board doesn't have to allow it at all. That's not the
Correct.
zoning. So
It's not zoned
Yeah.
for that
So I
now
know-
anyhow. So
as managers, we get together and talk about it, and a lot of them have said that we're actually mandating they produce or they somehow create their own electricity in order to provide, and also how it's going to affect the water supply, for
Mhm.
they take a lot of water out of the system as well. So those are the two issues, electricity and water.
And what I'm understanding is they approached NYSO, New York State
Yes.
Independent Operators, looking to see if there is enough electricity within the grid.
And that was
And
2 years ago. We're still
that was 2 years
Yep.
ago. And I find it hard to believe that there's going to be enough electricity to be able to do that. So I just, as that conversation comes up, so the board knows, I'm just going to say it's not zoned for that now. The board will look into it and have further discussions if that's okay. I'm just gonna, I'm not gonna get into the weeds on that because it sounds like it's gonna be pretty weedy. On Saturday, this past Saturday, May 30, I attended the Hen Hud 100th anniversary. It was at Windrose in Ossining. It was a beautiful event. We had some of our seniors there. Bob Stein was there, George Boyle, Diane Tangent, who's in the audience. And we had a wonderful time. It was a very beautiful event honoring the high school. And also, Anthony Capicotti was there and came up when we did the proclamation to give to the high school. So it was a very nice event. Another question I want to ask the board, there's been a lot of conversation and questions and concern about solar panels going in Peekskill over the reservoir. We do get water from the reservoir. What are your thoughts about possibly writing a letter to the city of Peekskill with our concerns? I've read up on it. They're saying it doesn't necessarily leach. It's wrapped in encapsulated, blah, 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 blah. But if it breaks, it can leach in. And that's a water source that we use between the town of Cortland and the city of Peekskill. So would the board like to send a letter, with our concerns of potentially not putting it there,
And Teresa, you did reach out to me on that.
Oh, good.
I remember I did reach out
Uh-huh.
to the city manager. I reached out to the head of the water department, the head of DPW, and no one returned my phone calls asking for more detail and information. So a letter from the board, I think. probably
Yeah,
get
let's send it
answer.
directly to the
the mayor.
Peekskill, to the mayor.
Yeah.
And I did talk to her at the last WMOA meeting, and I think she's been inundated with comments on that. But I know it passed in the Senate, I think yesterday. Pete Harcum and Dana Levenberg had moved that forward. So I don't know if it's a good thing,
I'm only concerned that they never reached out to us, knowing that we
Yeah.
can take quite a bit of water from that.
Yeah.
I mean, we
There's
should
got to be
be,
some kind of containment unit though underneath them. I mean, there has to be. It's got to be engineered with a containment unit.
They're saying within the panels itself, it's the cadmium and everything else is like
Yeah, yeah.
quote unquote encapsulated, quote
But
unquote.
underneath the whole system itself,
I'm not sure.
some kind of a containment.
We got information. I'll try to.
Yeah,
get
Yeah.
I mean, we just need to find out about that. I mean,
Yeah.
oh, we
I
should.
don't think it's a good idea anyway, but
We should have been an interested party. I mean, it is
yeah.
our drinking source, so.
I agree. So why can't we just ask them the questions we have and have them respond?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, ask that question and then we can send the letter based on that. So.
Yeah. And luckily, we do have another source, so if it is a concern, we could
Mhm.
easily switch over.
Either that or we'll have to put Wells back. No, George will flip.
No Wells.
No Wells. I know. We had that conversation last month. Yeah, no, that's not going to work for us. On July 4th, the 250th birthday, I have asked Judge Dan O'Neill, he used to do this when he was mayor, We'll put that out on Facebook and let everyone know, but on July 4th, I've asked him if he would do once again the reading of the Declaration of Independence on the front lawn here at Village Hall. So it'll be sometime in the morning. He used to do that every year, so I think that would be something nice. Okay. Wilda, since you're on Zoom, and so I don't forget you, do you have anything for us this evening?
Yes, I actually joined Senator Harkam on Saturday. He had a food drive at Peekskill High School, and they were collecting all sorts of items for the homeless and the hungry. If anyone is interested in making any donation, they could contact CHOP. They're located at 200 North Water Street. I also want to mention that as a senior member, I contribute at times, and so does every senior member. We bring items into our meetings so that we can donate them to the Let It Shine Pantry that's located on 7th Street in Verplanck. So anyone who wants to make a donation can go to Verplanck as well. They also feed the hungry, the veterans, etc.
Mm-hmm. And for years before you got on the board, and I think it was before COVID, we used to have a basket in the downstairs in the lobby, and the seniors would donate. People would come in and donate, and we used to take it down to the VA, their food pantry. But I don't know. There was a situation there, and their food pantry has changed up. It's not so easy to get in there like it used to be before, but definitely the one in Verplanck, the veterans use that one, and everyone, a lot of people use that. So that's good. Thank you. There's people that are in need. So, if we can
Well, if
help.
anyone wants to know what the times are where they can deliver food to the pantry in Verplanck or even in Peekskill, they can email me and I'll send them the information.
Okay, good. Thank you. Anthony, what do you have for us this evening?
Hilda, you're done?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How you feeling, all right?
I feel better. Thank goodness. I can't see well, but hopefully by next week I will.
Well, I hope you feel better.
Thank you.
I don't have much. Just the developers that came in. I'm looking forward. to doing research on it, not to approving it or anything. Like Steve said, this is not an approval. We are just allowing them to come in and like anybody else would be allowed to come in and apply for building in our village. So. I'm interested to see where that goes and see what they have to offer. It's something that, when I went to this school function with Teresa the other night, I noticed that, it was a little political. There was a lot of, legislator, Dana Levenberg was there, and it was more political than I think it was that I liked, to be honest with you. And there's a reason for that. Is because our school district is hurting. And I get why it was political, And as much as we don't want to develop and bring this into our community, we need help. And maybe it's not developed in Buchanan. Maybe it's in the town of Cortland. Maybe the town of Cortland needs to pick up the pace a little bit to help the situation with the school district, because the school district needs help. And it will help all of us if this helps. So developing in Buchanan may not be the right way to go, but it needs to happen somewhere. And, maybe go to your town board meetings and push them a little bit and make them, because they're just, they need to pick up the pace and they need to help this area. When the plant closed, they were aware of what was happening too, and they didn't have a plan either. So it needs to be, we need to do something, and it's critical for us, our fixed income, our blue collar retirees. I know I'll be there one day, and I want to be able to stay in my home with my children. I'm sure they want to leave me, but I like to stay here as long as I possibly can as a retiree. And at the pace that it's going now, I'm not going to be able to do it. So we need to figure this out. And we're not here to sell the village. We are here to help the village. And that's why I do this job. And unfortunately, the motto going around the village is that we built the village is for sale. Unfortunately, that's the farthest thing from the truth. We're only here to help. We do our best. you as the public can come in and give us your interpretation of what you think, and that would help a lot. I don't have anything else really to say about the development. I just feel like that's our position. That's our role. We have to do our responsibilities to make sure that we do the best. And we have families too. And I have children in the school district, and I don't want to pay more taxes. I want to make this work for this village. I grew up in this area. Was not born and raised in Buchanan, but I've been in the Tri-Village my whole life. And this whole area is very important to me. And I just want to be able to finish out my career here, and just like everybody else does. All right, enough of me battering on. But it's summertime. Enjoy the good weather. Get out there. Take a walk around the lake. You'll enjoy the village. Get your kids ready for camp. Be careful around graduations coming up. And God bless the USA in 250th coming up. I won't be able to see your independence, your Declaration of Independence speech. I will probably
Be me.
doing something with explosives. But that's all I have to say.
All right, and I know two developers came in just to continue with that, Anthony. So there's another developer with 225 units over by Lens Cove. So I think it's important for people to come out, be heard. We'd like to hear your opinion of, the direction of the village. And we'll put it out on Facebook or any other way to let people know. And, I gave my opinions last month. But I know, Anthony, you made a good point with the town and with the Montrose transit-oriented district. They are allowed to have 100,000 gallons from our sewer treatment plant. And Marcus, if you have any updates on that transit-oriented district, which is down by the train station?
They were going to rezone that property, supposed to this spring, this summer. That's the last time I heard from the planner. As soon as that rezoning takes place, I understand they got developers waiting in the wings to start developing that property. And it's a substantial piece of property. I don't know how they're going to make 100,000 gallons work, but that's what they game plan at
Yeah,
this point.
I don't know because they have big plans.
Mhm.
We'll see. Bob, what do you have for us?
I don't have too much, but I'd like to just follow up with what you guys were saying about, seeing people here in the audience. It's nice to see some faces that are here. This is what I've been saying when I was on the board last time, that there's a lot of things going on in the village, potential conversations about a lot of different things. It's easier to see people here. I like to see people here speaking about it than hearing people telling me I talked to 20 people and no one's here talking about it. That's just my opinion. I can say 20 people also, but it doesn't mean I talk to them. I'm not saying anyone's a liar, but it's easy to say that. So I like I said, the more faces, the better. That way we get a better feel what the community's got to feel about things and what they got to say about things. And I think this whole board's here to respect their opinions.
Mhm.
I am
Absolutely.
sure.
Yep.
So the only other thing I do really have is that I just realized that we need to have to talk with Buchanan Energy Company about their contract.
Oh,
It's
okay.
that time already, so
Okay. Wow, that went
that's all I
fast.
really have.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Steve, I'm sorry.
Yeah, just, to echo what the other board members have said, just to make sure that the public is aware, I think from the workshop till today, I continue to hear different things from community members and understand that, I've heard about traffic studies, I've heard about, coordinating with EMS and the fire department, and all those that's as of law. Every developer has to do that, and there'll be extensive studies. They're going to be before the planning board, the zoning board. Nothing's been approved yet. They're all just concepts, and we'll see where things go.
And that reminds me, we had received today a letter with suggestions from the Verplank Residents Association. I think everyone got that also.
Yeah, and that was one of the points I made. One of the comments that they had presented was studying the traffic. And I just want the public to be aware, this Verplank Resident Association, to be aware that is a requirement of every developer to provide a study on traffic analysis. So that will be done with anybody who wants to do anything within the village. So that's really all I have.
All right. Thank you. Marcus, what do you have for us this evening?
Just follow up on the development. Now that the Blakely Avenue property developers came in and you guys approved to go to the next step, just to put on the record, both developments so far, any presentation we received are on the website, on the developments, so the public can take a look and see how the developments progress. But on June 10th was the zoning board meeting. This developer you met with today will be going to that meeting. So everybody interested how that process goes, they'll be going to the zoning board meeting on June 10th to start the process with the zoning board. Whatever discussion happens, they have to call for a public hearing. They have to notify everybody within a certain number distance from their property. So that process will be going through. They're also planning to go to the planning board meeting in June, just a preliminary meeting with the planning board as well. The planning board cannot approve site plan until the zoning board agrees to the variances. So I just want to make the public understand what the process will have to go through. But if any interested, please follow up on the planning board meetings and zoning board meetings. And of course, welcome anybody to come in and raise any comments they want. So that way, both not only the village board, but the planning board and zoning board can hear from the public as well.
So what is the distance that they send out to notify the residents if it goes to a public hearing? 500 feet. Okay, I didn't remember.
And all those meetings will be advertised and also recorded
Correct.
and available for review.
Correct. And it'll be on our website and on YouTube.
Okay, what else do you have for us, Mark?
That's it. Thank
Okay.
you.
Any comments from the audience, from the public? Thank you all for coming out. Okay, Dan.
Dan Stewart, 211 Tate Avenue. To go back in relation to the pavilion, I would like the board to consider approaching HOTEC in regards to the pool of monies that they had on a project that they wanted to move forward on to go towards the upgrade and whatever kind of engineering fees may be applicable with the pavilion. So I just think the board should consider that and approach HOTEC.
Holtec will be here to speak to the board in the fall. And they're aware of what the conversation's going to be. Yeah, so
Well,
they'll
why wait till the fall?
that's when they're available.
I still think we should be proactive.
Well,
Somebody should
yeah,
reach out to them.
I did.
The invitation was there, it was on the table.
Mhm.
So, I mean,
And that was a comment that I got back, that they would actually be here in the
well,
fall.
squeaky wheel always gets the oil.
Yeah, it sure does.
Will they be here in the June 18th?
Pat
Meetings?
won't be. Pat won't be. The new site manager will be here.
I'm back. Darlene Garrett, First Street. I promise I'll be quick. So I'm not on social media, as I told you guys a million times, and comments about, it went around quite quickly in the village about the developers that showed up for the workshop. I think a concern too is, I don't know, this other big developer over here, not Giordano's townhouses, but I don't know what survey they sent out where people wanted the waterfront to look better, which is a nice thing. But however many hundreds or hundreds of people this is going to add to the village, we talk about wastewater, sludge, our infrastructures, fine, they'll do a traffic study, that's all good, EMS, fine. But are we really thinking, and Teresa, you said it, I think, during the workshop, is that this isn't just one project. It's Carbone's project. It's the AMS. It's this. It's the. I am sorry, but this is going to strain our infrastructure.
There's also
And then the
infrastructure.
taxpayers are going to be asked to add another policeman a year from now, or to make other infrastructure expenditures that would be necessary, trust me, with that many more people in our village. And I just want to say that I don't know how any of this works, but that's what we should be asking these developers to contribute to. What that future infrastructure is going to cost the taxpayers. Mr. Anthony, as you said, we all want to try to live here. That's part of the thing, like being on the board. Everybody lives in the community also. This isn't just the people that are sitting here. And we're all concerned for our tax, and it can't be an easy thing on what to develop or how, but I'm a little tired of developers coming in here, and I'm sure there's a lot of meetings before they come here. But I'm not saying the waterfront wasn't a good thing, but I really think that you're not doing the taxpayers justice as a board if you are not requiring monies for infrastructure that you know is going to come if these developments go up as a whole. Question, EcoShield. They are a pest control company that are pests coming around to your house. Were they granted a permit? Because I know I asked.
They were not.
Well, so when they came to our house, I happened to be walking around the corner. My husband was talking to them. And I said, were you given a permit? Because I remember the last meeting you were told, oh, the other company wasn't. So we have companies, and I mean, they have been aggressive. I've had an elderly person say to me that they wanted to go into their backyard, walking to the back of their home. So I don't know if the police can be, notified.
You should call the police, right, absolutely.
Because it's especially for our elderly.
No, 'cause you hear so many things too with these people soliciting at doors and they're not really soliciting and so no, that's why we approve solicitors here in the
Do
village.
they carry a permit if they are given one? Because he
Yeah.
told me he had one, but I didn't think to ask him for it because,
They're supposed to carry.
They're supposed to have
Yeah, to have
identification.
around his neck too.
okay, well, the name of them is EcoShield. They gave somebody a card that they sent to me, but, so the paving, Marcus, you mentioned there was something going on that with Con Ed. So, because Anthony mentioned in one of the meetings, so before we spend all this money, we have determined that there's no utility work that's going to be done.
Correct.
Correct? Okay. I just hate to make assumptions. I assume.
Now, to piggyback on that, that's what Con Edison and utilities say now. But there can always be an emergency.
Yeah.
There can always be a gas leak or something that undetermined, and then they dig up the street. But before we touch any street, we check with all utilities to make sure there's no planned work.
Right. Okay. I think that was it. I think that's it. There was one other thing, but now I took really bad notes, which is not like me, so I'm sorry. Oh, the pavilion, agree 100% with what Anthony said earlier on this. I know it's only $2,500, but I'm a little concerned that we're paying somebody $2,500 more who didn't have the right, you didn't use the right wind load, didn't use the right steel amount. Why are we paying this person to do the job correctly this time? This was
They didn't do their job right the first time.
No.
That's my point.
That-
So
That
25,
was trying to point the point I was trying to make, but
yes. I don't think we should be paying him anything more. Do your job right. I mean, what I heard was, nope, he had the wrong steel, whatever you call it.
Correct. What happened, he took a guess of what the steel was on that steel load. That's why even Anthony recommended to do a test. So they actually took a piece of the steel out, then they took to a lab, tested the steel, and were able to determine what the strength of the steel was. Unless you take a sample, you don't know. He wasn't tasked with that. We had to hire a special company to remove the steel, test it. And that's why George is saying, now that we determined that the steel is stronger than what he assumed could have been, he can update his computer model to figure out what the load is right now. And what he did was determine that it didn't take the snow load according to the code. That's how all this started. So I want to make sure that he had took an assumption because he was tasked to remove the piece of steel. That's why Anthony recommended. That's how we did that.
Oh, I mean, I think like the recommendation was 100% right. I just feel like we're spending quite a bit of money. I know it was out on social media. I heard where people are going, oh, the board just wants to hear what they want to hear. I don't think that's true at all.
no.
Okay. But what I think is true is maybe we haven't hired the right people to begin with. And now we're spending money trying to find the right person. Because what I heard during, I think it was the last meeting before, is this is a very specialized pavilion, actually. The structure is very specialized. And that's why these PhDs were looked at. So, but now we're going back to the first person are they really qualified to this very specialized pavilion analysis still?
I don't think, Marcus, and correct me if I'm wrong, that engineer was hired to do that study the first time. Is that correct?
Correct.
He didn't take it to that level.
Correct.
And I don't think we gave him the direction to. We directed him to check the strength of the steel, to do the testing. I think he could have done a little better job, though. I think the second engineer is what's in question. The second engineer that we brought in, is that's where we went wrong. That guy gave us, we didn't ask him to give us a anything on wind
Opinion.
load.
Or an opinion.
An
on
opinion.
load. It was
Yeah,
opinion.
and it was nothing on an opinion on wind load. We, the code is based on snow load, and that's what we asked for, and we got something else. And when I questioned him on the phone, he was very arrogant with me, and it went in a direction that I don't ever want to talk to him again.
Mhm.
So I don't think he's good for the village. I don't think he should have ever been brought in.
I think that's really, I'm sorry, my point is that whether it's 1,000, 5,000, 2,000, are we putting our money where you guys need to put it
The
in
first
order to get the
engineer
answer that you need?
was tasked with only looking at the roof, and he initially discovered it does not meet the snow load. So that was it. End of story. He didn't do anything further. It was the second engineer that went and provided his opinion. So then we had to go back again to the original engineer. So, I mean, you could do some research on CT Mel. I mean, they're a reputable firm.
Correct. And just to clarify that too, when the first engineer said it didn't meet the snow load, the board said, let's get a second opinion to make sure that what his determination is correct, knowing what the steel load is after we did the testing. That's when we found the second engineer. The second engineer agreed to the first engineer, but then he started adding his own opinion on it, and that's where we got a little hostile discussion. But the first engineer was now tasked to go to the level that we're talking about doing now. So I want to make sure that you understand is like he didn't do anything that would be incompetent. He just said, I did my task. I told you it doesn't meet the snow load. And then we stopped and it went to a second engineer. So I just want to clarify.
Yeah, I
the
get,
record on that.
yeah, and I think we're somewhere in the middle of, and what I'm saying too is that, do we know what I'm not trying to insult anybody. Do we know what we're asking for so that the people we're hiring and spending taxpayer money on gives us what we need to, to give?
Mhm.
And again, I'll go on record saying, I don't think the board is looking for an answer that you want to have, that you're looking for. You just need to know.
Right.
And let's face it, this is all about liability, right? So getting somebody
Safety,
to,
too.
yeah.
Safety.
and I don't mean I just mean for the engineers,
Yeah.
themselves also.
Yep.
So, okay, thank you.
Thank you, Darlene. You brought up a few good points with the local waterfront revitalization survey. A lot of that, we didn't have very many Buchanan residents that responded to that. So there's
I just didn't get
responses
one.
from
We did, how that?
This was at least
businesses, yeah.
10 years ago.
This is a long time
Yeah.
ago.
We thought like what service could go away or something,
This is a long time ago.
4 years ago. I
Yeah.
looked at
but
it
the LWRP.
4 years ago.
Yeah, a lot of those people, the opinions are from Cortland. So I think it would behoove the village to recirculate a questionnaire or survey of what solely the village residents want to see in the LWRP. Because we didn't have many, Nick Zachary's not here, he could tell us, we didn't have many Buchanan residents that responded. So that's something to consider. And then also you were talking about the shared mitigation that Eric Werner had brought up. I do, and I apologize, I forgot to do it. I'll send it to the board if you'd like a copy, but it's a municipality here in Westchester County that does have a shared mitigation plan for when developers come in. So just some food for thought for the board. And
They also have low income housing.
no, not this one. Yeah, not this one.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because I specifically asked that.
'Cause that would give them the ability to do that.
yeah, I'm just, listen, I don't know this stuff or else I would have ran for the board, but it's just, common sense to me that if we're going to add this many more people, which we need something for our taxes, okay? It's going to have some kind of,
But
the
in
structure.
particular with the infrastructure, I mean, that is an analysis that every developer has to do. So when I mentioned traffic and I mentioned, the EMS coordination, infrastructure is something as well. So if you go back, I mean, the meeting minutes are available on the AMS project. That had to be studied in great detail and approved by our own staff on what those calculations were and what the impact would be. So I understand, and they're all valid points. I'm not saying that, but these are all processes that take place and they're set up for a reason, and everybody has to go through that process.
Just picking those companies that do the surveys.
Do the different
Yeah,
analysis.
Yeah.
Those two. So the developer,
The survey, or you talking about?
you
the
mean a
analysis?
different,
The analysis of the infrastructures.
so the developer hires their own, and then we as a village hire our own, which they pay for in escrow, and then they compare notes. And so on, the traffic analysis for both the Carbone project and AMS, that was done at great length. We had our own traffic engineer that provided his recommendations and his feedback.
Yeah, because I remember asking that and you guys said it was an outside company that the village hired. So when you
Yeah.
just said before about it being the developer hired, so there should be 2 traffic studies that I could foil then.
No, they have their own that they hire.
Uh-huh.
That's their material. It's their study. They own it. And then we hire ours. And then
And ours reviews the traffic counts, and any comments, and then they work it out. And if they can't agree to anything, they report to the board, and
So they-
the board goes by the opinion
the
of our
developer will
consultants.
come to the municipality, of us or whomever, and say, we believe the impact is going to be 20 additional cars. We don't just take their word for it. We have our own traffic analysis, do a study and say, you know what, it's not 20, it's 25, or it is 20. So that all of that is done through the process.
And then on top of that, if there are any impacts, they have to relieve those impacts by adding another lane, a turning lane, a traffic light, whatever have to happen with traffic. Same thing with water, same thing with sewer. All the impacts are studied, and then also if any negative impacts, they have to be mitigated as part of the process in order to move forward to the process.
Thank you.
Thanks, Arlene. And the only other thing I want to mention at the next workshop, I don't know if we want to do this at 6 o'clock, and I'm glad Dan's here tonight. I think going forward, maybe a quarterly centennial discussion with the team. So Dan, at the workshop, I don't know if you're available at 6 o'clock, or what does the board think? Or do you want to do it at 7? As the meeting starts at the workshop?
I'm going to just do it as the meeting starts.
So 7 o'clock. Any of the members, and Cindy, you can contact anyone that was interested. And then, the board and Dan can, do it every quarter just to keep that moving along. Oh. Mine's easy. Oh, okay.
Diane Tangent, 240 Catherine Street. Since I've stayed up this late to be here, I might as well say what I came to say. First of all, the village looks beautiful. I just got home from Florida and the flags were flying. At first I thought my neighbors put flags up, and then I realized that the village did it. It looks beautiful at the village hall. The flags and the banners really are nice. And the other thing is, it looks like, as I said, that the AMS project that Sylvan Woods is almost ready to move in. And we were maybe going to have an open house for the people of Buchanan to.
Yeah, so I have spoken with Ryan at AMS. He's targeting a date in July. Just wants to make sure that everything is ready and prepared for the public. And I think they had some vacations scheduled as well in their staff. So he was targeting something in July, but I should know something shortly.
Sure.
But-
Because I do have a friend who's going to move in,
Ah,
and he's one of the top floors, and he said they're the last to move in, and it wouldn't be till July. So are they starting to move in soon?
yeah,
June?
they are. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Okay, thank you. I do have I'm still giving a lot of thought to the project, the people who came. I did watch the meeting. I didn't listen to social media. I saw that there was going to be something. So I did watch the workshop meeting, and I saw all about it. And I'm thinking a lot about it. Okay.
Thanks, Diane. Thank you.
Executive session is there anyone else? I'm sorry, I don't want to cut anyone off. Yeah.
Sure.
What's it for? Personnel?
Litigation?
No, just an
Update on litigation. Yep.
Thank you. All right. And Lisa?
Hi there, it's Lisa again. So one thing that has been floating around that I at one point made a statement about how much AMS would or would not help our village taxpayers. And I just want to talk about that just really quick. So I did meet with Marcus, and the AMS project in the budget that was presented for 26-27 saved the average taxpayer about $114 per year. And that represents AMS being not fully assessed, but however much it will be assessed by the 26 budget. So I just want to bring that up because once it's fully assessed, it could be as high as 160 to 180, depending on what the full assessment is. So, 160 to 180 per year. Because once again, it did come up where people were asking me, because I made that statement. And that's just if all of the revenue goes to the bottom line, which we know, based on all these discussions, that there probably will be wear and tear on infrastructure. There probably will be other incremental costs that we are not factoring in or that are not represented in the top line. So I just want to bring that up because I did watch the meeting from last week, and the people that think that development is going to just be so big to the average taxpayer, they just need to understand when you really look at it to the average taxpayer, it's not a lot of money. So these projects that are going to bring us $100 of relief, $200 of relief, $250, $300, they're not going to help your tax bill, in such great numbers. And also, once again, those are just the top line numbers. As we factor in expenses, like on AMS, yeah, they're bringing us possibly $300 of tax revenue to the village. But if you do layer in any incremental expenses that come our way, that could end up being a lot lower. So, that's like a dinner or two out, it could end up being. It's not really a huge. Trying to make back our tax losses from Indian Point by development projects is going to be clawing back these small amounts. They're not big, but yeah, it's one way of doing it because it's getting 200 here, 100 there, 100 there, but it's not humongous dollars. And as we get to the bigger numbers of residents and the bigger effect on our infrastructure and more demand for police and fire and all of that, those numbers are going to go way lower. So it's just something to keep in mind.
All right.
And I did meet we discussed those numbers. So like $1,000 of tax revenue really only results in about 60 cents to an average taxpayer. So like the thing I was talking about before, $10,000 on that versus $2,000 or $3,000 to Croton by the time you pay the overtime or whatever we just talked about that came up, $7,000 times 60 cents, that's $4.20 per year for the average taxpayer by this calculation that I reviewed with Marcus. So I love our quality of life the way it is. I moved here because it's quiet and because it's different. If I wanted Tarrytown, I would have moved to Tarrytown. I came here because it was special and quiet, and yet I could drive to these areas that have some of the other things that we're talking about. I didn't necessarily want it in my backyard, but that's just me. But this study that was done, that I also talked to Marcus about, I still don't know exactly when it was done. Was it 5 years? Was it 6, 7?
4 years ago.
4 years ago?
Yep.
I mean, if it didn't target the right people, if it didn't target Buchanan residents and get our opinion, I don't know if it's really the information you're looking for.
Maybe we need to resurvey the residents.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about the questions that need to be asked and, how to get that out.
Builders that are coming here, I keep hearing about this. What is it called? Share mitigation. So that is having the builder or developer have a share in the incremental cost, right? That's basically what that is. So, I hope we can really pursue that because we shouldn't be like giving up what we have. If that's what many of the villagers like, the quiet with quality of life, we shouldn't be giving that up just to have a developer come in and make their money till the end of time if it's not what our villagers want. So, and there was also one comment, the man that spoke last time with all the development ideas at the workshop at the end, he spoke for a long time about we should develop this, we should develop that, we should develop this. He had a lot of ideas, or he was mentioning a lot. And once again, if you look at the numbers, and AMS is our first example, $300,000 tax revenue, top line, it's going to bring an average taxpayer, $150 to $180. If every cent of that goes to the bottom line, which is impossible. So all these development ideas, a lot of them are not going to be that positive. And we can preserve the quality of life for just maybe some incremental, maybe foregoing some of this development because it's worth our quality of life for those of us that like it that way. So I think a new survey would be really good. So that one is old and it wasn't targeted to the right people.
Right.
That's my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thanks for your comments. Anyone else? Yes, no, yes, yes.
Right. Tanya Drezick, Travis Avenue. Last week, when the large project that was presented here, it sounds great. Like, you know, they want to do the river, they want to do this, but giving the property next to the treatment plant doesn't make any sense for the village. I think that we need it for future development, which I know that I think the engineer even said that. So I don't see how even thinking to give them that property would make any sense for anybody in this village because it only hurts in the future. So that's all I wanted to say.
So tomorrow, it's been arranged that the board is able to go over there with the engineer to get a visual on what the developer is looking to do with, 3 acres from the village.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Tanya.
Tina Zarella, Westchester Avenue. Is that tour that you're going to take open to the public?
No.
Are we able to go and look at what this project is that they present to all of you?
I think what we're going to do is so the board can get an idea of how close it is to the sewer treatment plant and if it's doable, if it affects the expansion of the plant eventually. I think what we can do eventually is get maybe a drone shot of it and map it out so that everyone has a visual of it. And I do have to say to the board members, if there are more than 3 that are going tomorrow, we cannot discuss. We can go and see, but we cannot have a discussion about that because there's a quorum. So I just wanted to put that out there right out front.
So have we looked at the prospect of even leaving green space for the village? I think what you have is the waterfront that's over there, and you have the baseball field. Where else is there any green space? We're a small village, am I correct?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
1.3
square miles.
Square miles. Mm-hmm. And 240 acres.
And so
on
we
the river.
want to overdevelop it for the benefit of tax dollars. And so have we looked at a master plan, a big plan to decide how we should develop our property? Because we're the taxpayers. We're the ones who are going to carry the backpack, not the developer. Once they develop, they go on about their merry way and they find another parcel of property where they can make profit. I don't think they should profit on the backs of the American people in the village of Buchanan. The reason we're here is because it's quaint, it's small, it's comfortable. I don't feel comfortable when I think about strangers developing big buildings, 255 apartments, and telling me that it's not going to affect my lifestyle. I don't see that. And I want everybody on this board, planning, zoning, everyone, to think about what you're doing when you're developing these properties. Because it doesn't just belong to you, it belongs to the village residents. And we have a right and the ability to get people out and get them to vote on it. So yes, I think that a survey should go out so that it gives us a second opinion, not just your opinion. And not that I don't respect you, it's just that you have more power than we do. But in numbers, we have more power. So if it takes getting people out to knock on doors, I think that that's the next step that we're going to have to do, to get a survey on what we do with this property in the village of Buchanan. My husband was born here. The reason I'm here is because it's comfortable and I'm safe. I went to Tarrytown the other day. I got lost. I used to be able to go to Tarrytown all the time. You go to the village into Tarrytown, it's like a mini town inside a town. They've overdeveloped every area they could possibly develop there. That's not what we want here. I want the comfort knowing that there's open space. And if we develop it all, it's not there anymore. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Tina. Anyone else? I'd like to make, thank you everyone for coming out also. I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session to discuss litigation. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks and have a great Buchanan day.